Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Impact7 and in this video I'm going to be doing part 2 of my Premier League review of the 2022-2023 season. I've already done part 1, I will be putting the link to that in the description if you haven't seen it already. In this video we'll be going from 15th to 11th, so let's get right into it. First of all is Bournemouth in 15th place. They were 11 wins, 6 draws, 21 losses, 39 points, so they were 5 points clear of the relegation zone. They had 37 goals for, 71 against. The goal difference was minus 34. Their last 5 matches were 4 losses and 1 win. Now, with Bournemouth, they didn't really have any players that you would consider to be noteworthy or very good, let's say. They did have some good results, I'm not going to lie. Some of the results include teams like Spurs, they beat 3-2. Liverpool, they beat 1-0. They got a draw with Newcastle, and I think those results enabled them to survive in the Premier League. Also, Eddie Howe, when he was at Bournemouth, was able to get them to play a certain style where they may not necessarily win a lot of matches, but they were at least nice to watch. Now that he's obviously moved to Newcastle, then it was kind of, I guess the best way to say it is they fell off. And so to be able to actually still manage those type of results, beating Spurs, beating Liverpool, getting a draw with Newcastle, seeing how they've improved, I think is very, very good, and it's a good building off point for them to improve. Can they get into the top half of the table? Questionable. But they're in next season of the Premier League, so it's obviously a chance for them to move on and improve. In 14th place is West Ham. The thing with West Ham is they're up and down. One season they could be in the top 10, next season they could be, as they are now, in the bottom half of the top 10. Bottom half of the league, sorry. David Moyes, I feel like, is a good manager. I think maybe it was a bit too early for him to go to Manchester United when he did, and obviously replacing Sir Alex Ferguson would have been a monumental task for any manager. But I think West Ham, is a good team to be at. It's not a team where you're expected to win trophies on a regular basis like it is with Manchester United, but it's a team where he can focus on improving what he's got. He can focus on making sure that he's not having to get the best of the best. You can focus on getting the type of players where it's like 20 million, 30 million, 40 million maybe, and they're able to do a job for him. Able to work really hard, got good work ethic, good tactical awareness, and may not be able to score like 5 goals a game like Man City or Arsenal or Newcastle, particularly with their recent investment. But they're able to grind out results. They're able to make it difficult for their opponents to score against them. And so West Ham's what West Ham were able to do were 11 wins, so same as Bournemouth, 7 draws, 20 losses, so 1 less than Bournemouth. They got 40 points, so 1 more than Bournemouth. 42 goals scored for, 55 against, and the goal difference was minus 13. Their last 5 matches were 3 losses, 2 wins. Now, the noticeable players, obviously Declan Rice, who's recently moved to Arsenal, Lucas Paqueta, probably just butchered his name. So not very good with names, but the fact that they were able to win the Europa Conference League last season was very well done for them. I don't really rate the Conference League, but having said that, for a team that hasn't won a European League, for them to win that is obviously means a lot to them, and it's a good launching off point for them to obviously improve and try to get better. I think David Moyes can definitely improve the team. I think they may be able to improve on their performance, on their finishing position. For most of the season, they were near, if not in, the relegation zone. So I think that they can improve and possibly get into the top 10 for next season. Then we get to Wolves in 13th place. we have their record for last season: 11 wins, 8 draws, 19 losses, 41 points, 31 goals for, 58 against, minus 27 was their goal difference. And then finally we have their last 5 matches, where 3 losses, 1 draw, and 1 win. Funny enough, when I think about teams to play with in FIFA, one of the very first teams I think of is Wolves, aside from obviously the top teams, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Man City, and so on. It's Wolves, because I like their team. One of the players I really liked was Ruben Neves, who I think has moved on. Moutinho as well, I thought he was a good player. Pedro Neto, I think is a good player as well. Raul Jimenez as well, their striker, I think he's moved on as well. But having those players, I thought would make it a pretty good team. 13th place, honestly, a team of Wolves, I wouldn't say stature, but a team like Wolves I would have thought would do better than 13th place, but they always have room to improve. Let me just quickly check. Did they have any noticeable wins last season? I feel like Wolves are always able to grind out results every now and then. They were able to beat Aston Villa 1-0, considering how Aston Villa's improved. I think that was a good result. 1-0 against Chelsea. 1-0 against Tottenham. They were able to beat them. Let's see. 3-0 against Liverpool. Liverpool didn't really have a very good start to the season, but beating Liverpool 3-0 at any point is very good. 2-2 against Liverpool in the FA Cup third round. So they do have some notable wins. So can they improve? Absolutely. Now we're just over 7 minutes into the video. Now this is probably going to be the part where it takes up the most amount of time, and that is who's in 12th place, Chelsea. This has got to be one of the most hilarious seasons I've ever seen for any team. Chelsea, 11 wins, 11 draws, 16 losses, 44 points. So they were only 10 points away from relegation. 38 goals scored, 47 against. They have a -9 goal difference, and the final 5 matches were 2 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. Now, I'm looking here. The amount of goals they scored, right? You have West Ham, who were below them, scored more goals. You had Nottingham Forest, scored the exact same goals. You have Leicester City scored more goals than them and they got relegated. You have Leeds United scored more goals than them, got relegated. You had Southampton only scored 2 less goals than Chelsea and got relegated. That's that was ridiculous for Chelsea, absolutely ridiculous. Now they got a new owner in Todd Bowley, who, to his credit, put his money where his mouth was. He spent a ton of money. He spent, 600 million last season in both the summer and January transfer windows. Notable transfers was people like Enzo Fernandez for 107.8 million. Wesley Fofana for 70 million. One thing I have to say though, I didn't mention it for Leicester City in my previous video. Their negotiators, whoever they are, they need to be snapped up by Man City, Man United in particular, because their negotiators are terrible. But somehow Leicester City are able to get top dollar for their players. Absolutely amazing. And what's his name? Harry Maguire. How on earth they got like 80 million from Manchester United for him? Absolute steal. Absolutely. The people who negotiated that should be put in prison for the swindle of the century against Man United. Unbelievable. They do an amazing job when it comes to selling their players. Then we've got 70 million for Wesley Fofana, We've got Mudryk for 62. Thank God for Chelsea that they actually outbid Arsenal, because the way he performed was absolutely disgraceful and absolutely terrible. It was his first season, so maybe we will see him improve this upcoming season. But what do you have? Like 1 assist, no goals, terrible. Mark Cucurella for 57.5 million. Definitely not worth that. Brighton, another very good team, definitely know how to negotiate. Raheem Sterling, 47.5 million. To be honest, I've never really rated Raheem Sterling, but I guess you could say it was an improvement on what they already had. Badiashile, 33.7 million. Okay, defender. Now, Koulibaly, for 33 million, I rated when he was at Napoli, and I thought when I heard that Chelsea were going to get him, I was thinking, him and Thiago Silva as their backline, as their 2 centre backs. Chelsea are going to be a problem when it comes to defence, and their defence actually is probably what saved them, because they only let in 47 goals last season, which actually isn't too bad. Not too bad at all, but they just couldn't score enough goals. Mudryk, prime example. Got the speed, got the dribbling capability, but in front of goal, can't put the ball in the ocean if he was standing in it in the first place. Just terrible. Their best player last season was a player that they loaned in. João Felix. I thought the moment he stepped foot on the pitch for Chelsea, he was pretty good. He was very impressive. To the point where I was thinking, why wasn't Arsenal or Man United or Liverpool in for him on loan too? If I remember correctly though, Chelsea had to pay like what, 10 million plus to get him on loan, which made sense why no one else would have got him, because Chelsea are just more than happy to just spend money. So I haven't even mentioned like Aubameyang. I think he cost like 10 million, I think, to get him in. Barely did anything. So they spend that amount of money, yet they finish in 12th place, where they have more losses than wins. That's 10 points away from relegation. Even to the point where I was hearing during the last stages of the season how it's possible Chelsea could get relegated. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. They had 3 managers as well. They had Thomas Tuchel at the beginning of the season until September 9th. Then you had Graham Potter from the 8th of September to the 2nd of April. Now, Graham Potter's record at Brighton wasn't all that. So the fact that he got a Chelsea job was surprising to me. Not too surprising though how Chelsea performed, they got sacked. Then was Bruno Solta, I think his name. I think he was a caretaker manager, but I'm putting in the caretaker managers and managers together. He was from the 2nd of April to the 6th of April, so only about 4 days. Just to probably fill in the gap between Graham Potter and who came next, which is Frank Lampard. From the 6th of April to the end of the season, which was the 28th of May. How on earth they thought Frank Lampard could do anything, I have no idea, considering his first spell at Chelsea didn't go very well. But hey, I guess it just needs a stopgap until the end of the season. Now they've got Pochettino, who I think will do quite well. He knows what he wants to do. Unlike at Tottenham, he has the funds now to get the players that he wants. So we shall see how that goes. But the fact that Chelsea performed the way that they did, the fact that it seemed as though there were a bunch of individuals, not a team, was very surprising to me. Because here's the thing. Footballers are very lucky to be in the position that they are, where they get to play, I'm assuming, the game that they love, right? That they've spent their whole lives training for and playing for, hoping to get into the position that they are in. To be paid, well, for the players I mentioned, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Family is set. Don't have to worry about paying bills, don't have to worry about going hungry, don't have to worry about the electricity going out. None of that stuff. You can buy a Ferrari every single week if you want to. Doesn't matter. The main thing you can focus on is football. And your team, Chelsea, who are top 16, finishing 12th place, 10 points above relegation. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. To the point where if I was at Chelsea, I would be embarrassed to walk outside my house, considering the performances that they put through. Quickly going through some of their noticeable losses. So, let's go through this. I won't mention Champions League because not really necessary, but let's have a look here. So, they lost 3-0 against Leeds United, team that got relegated, by the way. They lost 2-1 to Southampton, got relegated. They drew 1-1 against Man United. Okay, Brighton won 4-1 against them. They lost 1-0 against Arsenal, lost 1-0 against Newcastle, lost 1-0 against Aston Villa, lost 1-0 against Manchester City, drew 1-1 against Nottingham Forest, a team that just escaped relegation. They lost against Southampton, got relegated. Lost against Tottenham, 2-0. Tottenham didn't have a very good season. So all those results for a team of Chelsea stature is not good. It's just not good. Just gonna quickly check here. The top 6 teams you would presume to be top 6. And see how Chelsea did against the top 6 teams, because I doubt it would be very good. So I think it's time to load though. I do apologize I didn't bring this up beforehand, but it's just something I've thought about now. Okay, so we have top 6. It was all these damn websites have to keep on doing the stupid. Oh, you accept the cookies or not? So annoying. All right, so Chelsea, 10 matches, right? Against the top 6 side, they got 4 points, 0 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses. Goals, 5. They only scored 5 goals. 15 against. That was a goal difference of 10. Abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Definitely need to improve for this upcoming season. Finally, we have Crystal Palace. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Crystal Palace. Barely watch them when they're on television. However, I was encouraged to watch them. Why? Because of their manager, Patrick Vieira, who's an Arsenal legend. I was hoping that they would do well, because obviously Patrick Vieira is there. Unfortunately, he gets sacked, where I thought that was unnecessary. I thought that they could have kept him at least until the end of the season, but yeah, it's unfortunate. The obviously best player, Wilfried Zaha, was linked to Arsenal a bunch of times. I think he's gone to Galatasaray now, and so then I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as good as what they used to be now that he's gone. But their record was 11 wins, 12 draws, 15 losses, 45 points, 40 goals for, 49 against, -9 goal difference. The last 5 matches were 2 losses, 1 win, 2 wins, 1 loss. Now, that had to be better. And so for me, it's a simple fact that they have to improve, they have to get better, and we have to see how things go. But they finished in 11th place. Can they get higher? Can they get into the top 10? I think so. But that's the end of this video. I'd like to thank everyone who's watched. Really appreciate it. If you want to keep up to date with my latest information, please follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. Links will be as usual in the description box down below. Let's have that. Please don't forget to hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you again tomorrow for my next live stream or video. Thank you very much for watching. Laters.